Hello guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be talking about how to maintain a great physique between 12 to 15%, so lean abs popping out, how to maintain this so you look and feel the same, the best version and the best condition in yourself 365 days of the year, right? Because I know a lot of guys have seen their abs before. They've mainly only seen it for a week or two, and then what they've done is they've not been able to sustain what they was doing or the approach that they got down to get the abs, and they've blew it away, right? This is what this video is going to be targeted to. Guys like yourself, you may be dieting before, you've done a successful dieting phase, you maybe have even worked with a coach before, or yourself, and you've got down to 12%, 13%, or similar sort of body fat percentage numbers, and then what's happened is that appetite has come in. You're binge eating, your snacks, all these foods that taste absolutely even better now that you're down into that body fat percentage markers and you're super hungry. And what's happened is you've either gone back to where you was before you did the diet, or you've gone even worse because you've just not been able to control that eating. And I just want to show you guys that I know exactly what I'm talking about here, guys. I've worked with so many guys that have gone through a result that you're trying to get, and they've actually sustained it at the same time with a reverse diet, okay? I've worked with 1,500 people, actually got them a transformation over the last 7 to 8 years. I've got them in the best shape of their life, and now they still, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years down the line, they still have that great physique, guys. So yeah, make sure you listen and you implement what I say. It's so much good value for you guys. So I just want to go through a little bit of a reality check for you guys that have maybe been through this process and you have, as I said, blown all the progress, right? Dieting doesn't have to be forever, right? I think a lot of guys have this misconception about, like, they see people like myself walking around or other people that are in great shape. They think that these guys have to be super hungry all the time, dieting all the time, super restrictive. And what happens is they get down to maybe the condition that they want to get to. They don't know where to go from there, and they just think, oh no, I need to eat all this food again. They go into panic mode, they eat all the food, and it just has a domino effect on them, and they're blowing back up. And then now they've blown back up again, the idea of them getting down to that body fat percentage mark, that great physique, that great physique look, should I say, they think, oh, you've got to live like a robot, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. No, you do not, okay? Really, you do not. I can go out for food 3-4 times a week. I don't drink alcohol anymore, but if I did want, or limited alcohol, should I say, if I wanted to go out and drink alcohol, I could do that every single weekend. I've earned the right to be flexible with my physique, guys, okay? I say this to every guy that works with me. Once I get you into shape, yes, there's going to have to be a little bit of restriction in there, but you can still have flexibility if it's controlled and it's calculated. But once you get into great shape and you do the reverse diet, you can be so flexible, right? I think a lot of you I really don't understand how flexible you can be with it, right? You've got to, I say this to a lot of guys, what in life comes with maximum reward that is easy to get? Nothing, right? So it's hard to get the physique. Once you're there, you have that flexibility. But more importantly, guys, right, the guys that have got the abs, they have a certain standard, right? You don't see guys that have abs. I mean, you might see the odd genetic freak that can eat crap food all the time, but a lot of guys that have a great physique, you can automatically look at them and know that they've got the shit together. They've got a really good routine. They train consistently. They're good with their diet. So it is a lifestyle change for you guys. If you're going to go through this process and then at the end of it, go back to your old habits that got you fat and overweight and out of shape, then forget it, right? Because a lot of you have been eating poorly over the weekends and through the week at work. Now that you're in your 30s, in your 40s, your activity levels have drastically slowed down. So like your lifestyle habits are bad and they've got you into the position that you are now, right? So if you think that the short-term solution for you is change all of them habits, start acting like a guy that has got a great physique, and the second you get down there, you go back to them old habits, this isn't for you. This journey isn't for you. It's a lifestyle change, and it should never be one that you're looking at doing for 12 to 16 weeks. It should be something where it takes 6 to 12 months to get into shape. And then after that, you instill these habits that are going to last a lifetime. So you can be in your 40s, you can be in your 50s, you can be that jack dad, you can be that great guy that's in shape, he looks healthy, he looks fit. That is the goal for everyone. And like once you get down to being in shape, it's just about being consistent. It really, really is, okay, right? Like socials are going to creep back in. There's going to be more social times. As I said earlier in the video, I can go out and I could be super social if I wanted to, but your social habits are going to come back in. Like there's going to be more flexibility because you can't live like a robot for 365 days of the year. And all you need is the right protocols. As I said, the reverse diet, the right protocols to get you out of the position where you're super hungry, and then you can maintain the physique. And it could be winter, it could be summer, it could be Christmas, and you could go on holiday at any time of the year and be in the best shape of your life. So I'm going to run through the 5 common mistakes that I see guys just like yourself make then make them lose that physique that they've worked hard for. So number one, once you get down to the condition, you stop tracking your food or you stop following the diet that's got you down there, okay, guys, right? So if you've used either a diet plan that you've made or you've used from a coach, or you've tracked your calories and you've been consistent, that is the skeleton of your diet, and that is what's got you down to where you want to get to, right? So if you get into great shape, and then the second you get there, you just take that away, of course, you're going to lose that condition very, very quickly, guys, okay, right? That is going to be the base for you. Obviously, I'll go through the process of a reverse diet, but that's going to be your foundation of the diet, and you can start adding more food back in there, and then you start to have the flexibility at the same time. But that's the core foundation of the physique for you. The second you get down there, you can't just chuck that in the bin. Number two, you relax your habits too quickly. As I was saying, I keep banging on about the reverse diet, right? A lot of people, they get into shape, they don't realize the next 4, 6, most of the time 6 to 8 weeks, guys, actually correct me there, 6 to 8 weeks after this reverse dieting phase, it is so important. People don't understand, right? That bit is actually more important, I would say, than actually getting the result, because as I said, there's no point in you looking good for a week. It's about creating that sustainability for you. So the reverse diet, adding the more food in there and staying disciplined, even though when I give you more food or the client has more food, they want to eat more than that, but they can stay disciplined and stay locked in through that gradual phase, getting out of the deficit into the maintenance and maybe into a surplus. To stay locked in with that, it's so important. So if you, as I said, start not doing your cardio, moving less, eating more crap food, reducing your training, the habits that have got you down to the great condition, if you start relaxing them too aggressively, too quickly, then yes, you're going to lose that physique. Number four, you start eating emotionally, right? As anyone knows, if you've seen the Snickers advert before, you're not you when you're hungry, right? So you finish the diet, the motivation's gone out the window because you're working hard towards an end goal. You feel like you've finished it now and you've achieved the result. So the emotional eating starts coming back in, right? The fast food that you'd not normally order, the discipline over the weekend, outside of maybe your off-plan meal, you start having little snacks, cookies, the emotional eating and the feel-good factor of eating these, the short-term endorphin hit comes in and you start blowing that progress faster than you realize. And then number five, the weekends go to shit, okay, right? Weekends. Monday to Friday, you're at work, your normal routine's in there, you get up at the same time, you go to work at the same time, you train at the same time. It's very easy, but the second the weekend comes in, the second that you finish that diet, you press the F it button and that weekend turns into pizzas, burgers, because trust me, when you've done a diet and you're in low body fat percentage numbers, these will taste a million times better than they normally do, okay, right? And it's very hard to contain that. The weekends can be the catalyst for you having that domino effect and losing that hard condition that you've worked hard for. So I'm going to go through the 4 steps now that are going to help you maintain that physique that you want to keep for 365 days of the year, right? So step number 1, right? Stay within a range, right? So let's say that you get down to 8%, 9%, 10%. Well, I genuinely believe that these levels of condition, 11%, they're very hard to maintain, guys, right? I genuinely believe that a lot of guys, I get them down to about 12%, okay? If you want to push it and go super shredded, get into the single body fat percentage numbers or like 10%, then okay, of course. It's a fantastic achievement, and I feel like it's a great credit to your testament, to your discipline, but it's not a place that you can live. I don't want to live down there at all. I really, really don't, right? I've got into single body fat percentage numbers. You can see it across the screen. I've done it numerous times. Every single time I've gone down there, it's been very hard to try and live in that position because you get emotionally attached to being super, super shredded, right? Veins all across your legs, veins all up your abs. Like, you look great, but it's a position where you can't maintain it. I feel like be realistic and stick within a range. So like at 12% body fat, which is an unbelievable physique for a lot of you guys, right? A physique that the 0.001% of the population can ever even dream of getting to, right? If you can get to 12%, you can have full flexibility over the weekends, like a couple of meals off plan per week. You can be social, you can go on holidays, maintain the physique. You can live a very flexible lifestyle, having different foods through the week. You can start swapping your macros when you start building that accountability and discipline up with the flexibility with the foods, and you can hover around there easily. But you've just got to accept them small fluctuations, right? Like, let's say that you are living at 12% body fat, and a lot of guys, this is where they start to let their hair fall out a little bit. Let's say the weekend, you know, you're going to be flexible, right? Friday comes, you look absolutely amazing, right? You maybe have a bit of food on the Friday, a bit of food on the Saturday. Let's say that you do go overkill and you have some food on the Sunday as well. You wake up Monday and you feel super bloated. Your goal then is to just get back on the plan again. By Wednesday, you'll have dropped all that water retention from the weekend and you look just as good as where you was on that Friday before the socials even started. But a lot of guys, they think they've ruined their progress and they have like a domino effect. Just maintenance and consistency. It's not about perfection when you're trying to hold a physique. It's not like you're trying to chase that 12% you've never been down to before. Once you get there, you can be flexible just with consistency. Number 2, nail your reverse diet and know your intake, right? So this is such an important topic to talk about when you've done the dieting phase and you want to actually maintain that physique, okay? The reverse diet. As I said briefly in one of the videos before, right? So let's say that you are chasing crazy condition and you finish your dieting phase at 1600 to 1800 calories. You're going to be super hungry on this. You're training, you're doing quite a lot of cardio. Okay, guys, right? Your hormones are going to be all over the place. Your appetite is going to be through the roof, okay, right? This is a position where a lot of you just completely catapult back the other way and you go from 1600 to 4000 because you just can't stop the eating, right? The second that you achieve that goal, your whole life for the last, say, 26 weeks or however long you've been doing this journey for, 30 weeks, 36 weeks, you've been so focused on this end goal, right? Once you've achieved it, it's like that discipline starts to go out the window because you think, right, what do I work hard for now? A lot of people don't understand what the reverse diet is. And as I said, they balloon up on the calories and end up losing the condition, right? So the easy way for you to mark this, like, let's say, I'm just going to give you a rough example of 1600. So the second that let's say you was doing 30 minutes cardio times 7, which sounds like quite a lot, but you're trying to achieve a condition that people dream of. So let's say your first 2 changes would be drop down the cardio to 5 times 20 minutes. And then you're taking your calories from, say, 1600 calories a day to 1900 calories a day. The food that you increase it with is going to be carbohydrates, okay? So 300 calories worth of carbohydrates, and maybe implement an off-plan meal every single Saturday of your choice, as long as you don't go kamikaze with it, okay? You assess after a week, you see where your condition is, you see where your scale weight is. If you're in a position, yet again, to increase the food because your condition looks just as good as the week before, you add in another 200 to 300 calories, and it can be carbohydrates again. And then once you get to maybe 2,300 every other week, or 2,200 every other week, you go through this and you eventually find out, tracking the data every single day, looking at your scale weight, looking at your condition, taking your photos weekly, and you'll see where your body can actually stabilize with the scale weight and you can actually hold the condition with the flexibility in there, eating a certain amount of food. So your new maintenance calories after going through an aggressive diet at the back end to get to 12% is going to be much higher than when you first started your fitness journey. So you could be eating 3,000 calories a day. It might take you 6-7 weeks to get there, or 8 weeks to get there. But scale weight isn't going up and it's not going down. So you're not getting visually leaner, but you're not getting any fat, all right? You're not losing condition. Your appetite cravings have gone. So you're in a position now where you can eat the same food through the week, 3,000 calories, have flexibility over the weekend, and sustain the result at your maintenance calories. I'm not saying everyone is going to be 3,000, some people it's 3,400. I've got a client at the minute, I'm going to put him on the screen. He's pulling his hair out, he wants to go for a gaining phase. He's on 3,800 calories a day, right? We went for a crazy fat loss journey with him. We've been doing 7 to 8 weeks of reverse diet and he's on 3,800 calories. He's like, why is the scale weight not going up? He's getting leaner, right? So hormone stabilization after the aggressive fat loss phase, and of course, reestablishing his new maintenance calories, okay? Once we find that, he can just maintain the result if he wanted to, but he wants to go for a building phase. So yeah, once you've found that maintenance calories and you know the intake, sustain it, guys. That's it, right? And if you don't want to go for a building phase and you don't want to get absolutely shredded, if you just want to maintain this result for life, which a lot of you guys do, if you're 35, 40, 45, even 50, I've got guys that are 52, 53 that have been in the best shape of their life. If you want to just maintain that result and you don't want to go for a build, you find out where your maintenance calories, you know your intake, and you just stay consistent with it. Number 3, maintain your training and have some form of movement in there, guys, right? So a lot of guys, as I say, they don't look at this as a long-term goal. They get into great shape, and then everything that they did to get themselves into great shape, they just stop doing it. So let's say you was training 5 times a week or 4 times a week or whatever, 3 times a week. You can get into 12% body fat on either of them, 3, 4, 5 times a week, right? And let's say you're doing your cardio on the side, your steps are at 12,000, 10,000, whatever, of course. As you get down to that 12%, you have to do more. Your activity levels have to go up. I'm not saying they've got to stay up, but you've got to do more. You've got to burn more calories. It's taking food out, adding extra expenditure in there with your cardio, with your training, with your steps, whatever, right? But once you get there, you start to take it back out. So your steps, your movement goes down, your cardio goes down. Like, it can go down, but it can't completely stop, right? So let's say, as an example, right, you are training at 5, and as I already sort of explained it briefly in my last step, but let's say you're training 5 times a week, right? And you know that you don't want to train 5 times a week. You could drop it down to 4 and you could easily drop it down to 3. I think 3 is the minimum for you guys, but you don't need to then stop also taking out your steps completely, going from 10 to 12,000 now to 5,000. So like, once you've gone through the reverse diet, I would say you could train 3 times a week. You could do 3 times 20 minutes cardio. You could do 10,000 steps, and you can have a sustainable amount of food to stick to, right? But you don't just drop it all out, right? The cardio needs to stay in, the movement needs to stay in, and the training needs to stay in. If you start to really pull out all of the stuff too quickly or just stop it altogether, then you're going to lose that physique. So maintain your training, maintain some form of cardio. It's going to be great for heart health. It's going to be great for your cardiovascular fitness levels. You're going to feel amazing because you're fitter. You don't want to be this big lump that can't do any cardio anyway, guys. Even if you look great. I mean, I've been on that end of the spectrum. I'm in a position now where I can run, I can train, I can play football, I play paddle. Like, I love being fit and active at the same time as looking amazing. So yeah, don't pull out all of the stuff that's got you into shape. Find a place where you can actually sustainably do it 365 days of the year. So if you can do it sustainably, it means you can maintain the result and you just stick at that consistently. And then number 4, keep your structure in place, right? Finally, so for me, I feel like every guy that's in great shape, they have some element of structure in their life, whether it's getting up at the same time in training, whether it's the steps, getting the steps in at the same time, your diet, your meal prep, all of this stuff. I mean, 99% of guys that you speak to that are in great shape, or 99% of the guys that you see that are in great shape, whatever routine works best for you, but they consistently train at the same time. They consistently eat similar timings. I know that if you're a super busy guy, it's not always the case, but I feel like you can make something work. Let's say that you always eat an hour before you train or 40 minutes before you train. You can make it work with whatever food that you need to make it work with. If it changes on a certain day, that's also fine. But you have the foundation there with the structure, right? And for you, that's going to keep you organized. It's going to keep you consistent, right? So if you got into great shape with a certain structure, because you have to be structured to get to 12%, keep that structure in place. It doesn't need to be as aggressive, but keep it in place, guys, and be consistent with it. Because structure, it prevents off-plan drifting out of the routine, okay, guys? Because I see it quite common, right? You know what it's like. A lot of people, when they're training, the second they stop training, it's really hard to get back into that rhythm again. Same with once you're in great shape. You like an autopilot, trust me, right? When I'm in the best shape of my life, I'm super regimented, I'm super structured, right? It can be very easy for you to just step outside of that structure and hard to get back on the bandwagon with it, guys. So if you just follow all 4 of them steps there with the reverse diet, your structure, your training, your activity levels, planning your intake, I guarantee you guys, like, it's not as hard as you think it actually is to get into 12 to 15% body fat percentage markers, looking absolutely amazing, and sustaining it 365 days of the year. And I've worked with so many guys that have rebounded themselves before. They've not been able to maintain looking absolutely amazing. There's a couple that are going to pop up on the screen for you here, guys, that have been through countless dieting phase before, and they've just never been able to actually sustain the result of feeling amazing. And then they've come within the program, whether it's 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. A lot of these guys still actually work with me because they enjoy the program that much. And they was in shape a year and a half ago, and they still look in incredible shape right now, guys. And as you all say, it's not about just looking good for one day. It's about looking good around the kids, around just your day-to-day life. You're going out socializing, you look absolutely amazing, and staying in that great position for the rest of your life, right? Because it's going to be one of the best investments starting a fitness journey that you ever do yourself, right? For your mental health, for everything about you, it's only going to add benefits to you, okay? Right, and if you like these videos, please hit subscribe. There's going to be lots more coming your way.